Well, here we are again. In this video, I'll be covering every trinket in the Binding of Isaac 4 Souls. If you don't know what a trinket is, it's a loot card that becomes an item when played. Some trinkets are good, some are really good, and some of them exist only so you don't have to sacrifice an item when you die. Before we get into this, I'm putting a disclaimer at the start of this video, and basically all others I do in the future. I look into these cards as much as I possibly can, but I don't always account for everything. There can, and likely will be, inconsistencies due to how many cards the game has to cover. I cannot dummy-proof this, but if you see something you think I missed, leave a comment, because honestly, I probably did miss it. Anyway. Bloody Penny is a nice trinket to have on hand. Each time someone dies, you loot one. This allows you to passively gain loot cards. Let's be real, people die pretty often in this game. In most games, you can expect one person to die every rotation, which is pretty good for you, unless you're the one who's dying. Gaining a single loot card every so often is pretty good. Honestly, anything that widens your hand is great to have. This may lead you to act more aggressively towards other players, but usually most people just sit around and collect the free loot. Cool. A tier. I have genuinely never seen this work. Not once have I seen this prevent someone's death. When a player dies, they roll for this card, hoping to get a 6, but even if you do, your turn ends. In comparison to a card we'll talk about soon, this card is just shit. The issue with it, I feel, is it just does not have enough opportunities to actually work. I'd actually consider it kind of okay if you had to roll a 5 or a 6, but no, just 6. This card usually just waits patiently to be sacrificed or blown away by the death penalty it couldn't prevent. D tier. Kane's Eye is a card that is mostly used to get better loot cards. At the start of your turn, you can look at the top card of a loot deck, and if you don't like it, you can toss it at the bottom. Like I've said, knowing what cards come next, or even controlling them, is a great advantage to have. This one is especially good, as you can check the loot deck before the loot step, and you can trash the top card if you don't like it. Overall, a good effect. B tier. Counterfeit Penny allows you to gain 1 cent every time you gain cents. This allows you to net more cents at every opportunity, especially if you have an item that can get you cents every turn, like Sack of Pennies. Even using cent cards is a good idea if you've got this on hand. If you hang on to this, I guarantee cash will pile up. Just a solid card all around. A tier. Curved Horn gives you a full extra damage on your first attack roll each turn, which is really good, if you can manage to hit that first roll, that is. A damage increase is always great, as it lowers the amount of hits required to kill a monster, and if you land that first hit, you'll have a great head start to your attack. A tier. Golden Horseshoe is basically just Kane's Eye, but for the treasure deck. It certainly isn't a bad card, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't see a lot of people forget to use it. Like, a lot of people. It can give you insight on what to buy for the turn, and you can throw away undesirable items at the top of the treasure deck, but it can't really do too much else. B tier. Guppy's Hairball is basically just the Ankh if it was actually good. Each time you take damage, you can roll to prevent one of that damage, and it works out every so often. The real use of this card, however, is the fact that it counts towards the soul of Guppy. If that soul is in play, most players will hold on to this for obvious reasons. Because that soul may not always be in play, this gets B tier. Purple Heart is basically just Golden Horseshoe for the monster deck. It's a good card, information top of the monster deck, throw away unweighted cards. You get this, right? B tier. Swallowed Penny is really not that good. Gaining a penny each time you take damage is great, but you can only really take 1 damage a turn without dying. Compared to Counterfeit Penny, you probably won't keep this around too long. Of course, combined with Counterfeit Penny, this card becomes exponentially better. Not sure why I mentioned that, but oh well. C tier. Lost Souls SS tier. You know what this is. You've had a game where Little Timmy randomly won because he drew this. You know why this is SS tier, but I bet you didn't know you can butterbean this when it's played. Like with any trinket. You can butterbean any trinket being played to send it straight to the loot discard. Yeah. More you know. Cancer gives your first attack roll 1+ dice roll, which is great, meaning you'll probably hit it, or maybe you won't, I'm not a psychic. Making the window of opportunity wider in terms of attacking is usually the best thing you can do for yourself, which makes this a pretty damn good trinket. A tier. Pink Eye allows you to deal 1 damage to a monster or a player that attacked you if you roll a 1 and take damage. Really not all that useful, but I suppose it can help you if you tend to roll poorly. It's damage, but it's damage that only occurs if you roll a 1 and take damage. No cool synergy with Cube of Meat, Infamy, or Dead Weight, so damn. C tier. AAA Battery can be a fantastic trinket, better than a good amount of treasures even, if you have a decent active item to back it up. If you don't, the thing is useless. It has a 50% chance to recharge an item at the end of your turn, which is fantastic. I'm not kidding about the better than most treasures, by the way. We're getting to the section of trinkets that are oddly better than most actual treasure cards, so buckle up. A tier. Poker chip allows your first time getting cents each turn to be a gamble. You have a 50-50 chance of either doubling this cent gain or getting a measly penny instead. This thing could work well for you, or it could be a thorn in your side. Just kinda depends if you're feeling lucky. B tier. Tapeworm is a dick trinket. Playing it says, "Let's rumble, fuckfaces," to all other players, and I don't blame them for hating you. When you attack a monster with this, someone other than you will likely die this turn, but you don't care about that, because you're a fucking dickhead. Fuck you. The left hand is just bloody penny, but more inconsistent, because instead of getting you a loot card, it recharges an item. Again, you may or may not have a good item to recharge, or a good item at all. That's why this gets a B tier, just not as useful as looting one. Rainbow Tapeworm has a 50-50 chance of copying any non-eternal item in play at the start of your turn until the end of it. This trinket, because of the lack of restriction on active or passive items, is really freaking good. Even if nobody has any items, you can just copy a shop item. Just a great card overall. S tier. Bag Lunch, when destroyed, will stay in your possession instead of being destroyed, and will gain the effect of giving you +1 health, which is really damn good. Ideally, you want to die soon after you get this, as most effect texts prevent you from sacrificing this. Nothing else to say here. Having 1 extra health is really damn good, especially for a trinket. S tier. Broken Remote allows you to put a room or monster not being attacked into discard every time you activate an item. This card is stupid good, and I honestly wonder how this thing got through testing with an effect like that on a trinket. As long as you have any active item, you can throw away a room or monster every single time you use it for no additional cost. This thing is just stupid good, man. SS tier. Callus. I don't even have to read this card for you. You can only take damage from this while active. This. This does not count as combat damage. This does. This is the only thing that can deal damage to you while you possess this card. Why the fuck is this a trinket? Holy fuck, SS. Golden Trinket basically allows you to copy an item you control. It's a great trinket, no notes. Having 2 of an item is usually great, just make sure to use it on a worthwhile item. S tier. Lucky Toe is just counterfeit penny, but much better, even without gaining its benefit from the loot step. Like I've said before, an additional loot card is much more valuable than an individual penny, even if they look to be of the same value. S tier card, great stuff. Rib of Greed is also absolutely nuts. Not being able to lose cents or loot from not just death, but abilities is just completely insane. It nixes a lot of aggressive plays, turns off the downsides of certain items, and is just overall another busted Requiem trinket. S tier. The tick grants you a permanent buff. You cannot lose the tick. You forever have the ability to attack twice, and not only that, heal a health point when you kill a monster. Your character is forever a budget savage in addition to what they already are. SS tier. Wishbone just grants you a treasure when destroyed. Yeah, S tier. You can die, you can sacrifice it, whatever. Free treasure. Loot card is a pretty common trinket to be played in the early game, due to the fact it can help you gain some extra loot and can return to your hand to be reused. But as the game progresses and players get better loot and cards to play, this will start to be played a lot less. Using a loot play to gain 1 loot card is risky in the late game when you need to be able to respond to something in the off turn, and it just kinda quits being used at that point. B tier. Alt Lost Soul is more of a game modifier than a helpful trinket. You straight up will not see this played in the late game, unless someone is making a really high IQ play. When played, this soul is given to another player, who can then be attacked to steal that soul. Whoever controls the soul at any given time has 4+ dice roll and can be attacked. I think you're starting to see why this trinket is hard to rank for me. I like it more than Lost Soul, but that's mostly because it has a price to be played. I guess I'll put this in C tier, as although it could help you win the game, in all honesty, the target it puts on your back when you control it just isn't very nice to have. The small pill is great to have if rolling it works out. If you don't roll a 5 or 6, this does nothing and disappears, but if you do, you gain a trinket that can prevent the first instance of 1 damage you take each turn, which is great. Most of the time though, this doesn't really work out, so sorry, B tier. The big pill has a similar story to the small pill we covered. If you hit 5 or 6, this becomes a trinket with a whopping +1 damage. Amazing! If you miss, you lose! B tier. Short Fuse is mostly used as an anti-player insurance card. If someone is responsible for your death, you can destroy this with the death penalty and deal 2 damage to them, which usually kills them. Obviously you can use it to kill a monster, or if you have a way to destroy an items, use it like a big bomb of sorts, but you'll mostly see it used as a deterrent. It's still a pretty good trinket though, so S tier. Convention Lost Soul is a card I really wish I had. Please, someone DM me on Discord if you want to sell yours. I love this card, man. Anyway, Console, when played, gives whoever played it 2 treasures, and the soul goes to another player. This gets you 2 treasures, but allows another player to catch up to you. Like I said, I like this card. It allows players who aren't doing well to get a leg up, but as for how good it is, I'd say it's about A tier maybe? 2 treasures is nothing to scoff at, but the free soul to another player could come back to haunt you. Well, that didn't take long. The second I'm finished editing this video, I'm taking a short break from videos. My next upload will be something pretty different, but I'm quite sure it'll be something y'all will enjoy. I'm super excited to get this next video ready, and it's a big step for me. After that, I've got a few more things planned, but for Souls-wise, the item tier list is coming. If you want to see updates and just chill out sometimes, join the Discord in the description. I'll see you around, take care.